Hi. This week I am dropping another not short because I go to an Australian university and it is towards the end of the semester at I think pretty much every Australian university, which means I don't have that much time to actually research content and go more in depth. So you get a not short again this week. And it, as you can probably guess from our lovely friend behind me, we are talking about social media yet again, and we're talking about people being doomer about Meta slash Facebook's attempt to make a Twitter clone. So, in case you haven't heard, because it was well, it wasn't everywhere. There was a Business Insider article. That's the most mainstream that it got, from what I remember. But essentially, Facebook is trying to expand Instagram into the niche that Twitter holds, and the Fediverse is starting to encroach in, especially Mastodon, by making their own thing. And currently, it's called Project Barcelona, which is interesting. And they are talking big game about decentralization, which is a fancy way of saying they will actually support ActivityPub, maybe, potentially, because I'm not sure how they would decentralize the hosting of stuff if you need an Instagram account to use it in the first place. So, Facebook. Um, and so what that means is that people are worried that if this Twitter replacement becomes a thing and supports ActivityPub and is backed by Meta Facebook, whatever, um, it could derail the Fediverse, particularly Mastodon. One of my mutuals on the Fediverse was saying that she's worried of Mastodon themselves being bought out because of all the centralization they've been doing with making themselves the place you sign up on if you download the Mastodon app on your phone, which is I don't get this. I really don't understand why it's like this, but people apparently just download apps and sign up in the app. Like, what? Am I too like too early Zoomer to understand this? Um, but yeah, they centralized a bunch by making it the default place to sign up. I even have myself a Mastodon social account as well, I think. It redirects to my self-hosted instance of Mastodon, which I don't use, and I tell people to follow me over onto my Akoma instance, which is superior because it is not Mastodon. But essentially, yeah, you could get bought out if you're Mastodon by Mr. Zuck, and so that is a legitimate worry. And given that like Mastodon is kind of like the default gateway into the Fediverse, like yeah, sure. But the people that like are actually into the decentralized stuff, the Fedi stuff, they wouldn't want to like acquiesce to Facebook Meta. Uh, they would probably pour their efforts into another project in the Fediverse. Like again, as I mentioned, I host Akoma for my Fediverse presence, right? It's just nicer. It looks old internet. And for people that want something more slick, there's like Kalki, and there's like Miski, and like a bajillion, million, trillion different components that fit into the Fediverse and have different niches. It's not just Mastodon. So, uh, too long didn't watch. Skip to the end for the point of this big ramble. Uh, Mastodon is not in danger by Facebook trying to occupy the Twitter niche themselves and using ActivityPub compatibility as a sweetener. Well, okay. I guess technically, if they control a big chunk of the Fediverse by having ActivityPub and having pretty much everyone on Instagram have the opportunity to use ActivityPub, they could influence the World Wide Web Consortium. But then, I mean, there could be an open source standard and like they could expand upon it in the direction that they want. Well, open source is stronger than Facebook. that's my too long didn't watch. Hopefully proper content coming in the next week or two. Probably 2 weeks. We'll see how busy I am. Bye bye.